During COVID, we've been finding out about this because many of the people who get sick have a terrible lifestyle. They don't eat right for their body type. They don't know about herbs and the benefits of them. They don't even know what food to eat at what time of day and in what season of the year to support their particular body type. The next step that we should take, and we learn from COVID, is that lifestyle is the basis of health and well-being. And then, in an emergency, we use emergency medicines. This is the great secret that India has held for thousands of years and passed forward and is still teaching the world. There are new Ayurvedic medical schools in America. There's one in New Mexico. These are springing up all over the world. And the yoga movement is allied with the lifestyle movement of Ayurvedic medicine, Vedic astrology, and all of these lifestyle practices. Namaste, and welcome to Vedic Vidya. My name is Jeffrey Armstrong, Kavindra Rishi. Vedic Vidya is available exclusively on Citti Media, English channel, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. IST. Our topic tonight is why allopathic medicine excels in an emergency but ignores all other forms of natural healing, or how the Ayurvedic medical system of India heals by lifestyle and harmonizing with nature. The first thing I need to say to all of the people working in different medical fields is they probably went into that field because they were empathic and caring and wanted to do something that brings benefit to their fellow human beings. So this is not to be disrespectful toward any of those persons. It's just that certain historical circumstances have been governing the shape of our society. And that shape got started in the colonial era. The colonial era was a time when we extracted resources. In fact, we treated cultures as resources to extract, which is the terrible part of it. But the downside was that the train that got started then of extracting resources from the planet made industries that were so monolithic and so powerful that sometimes their power and their hunger for profit benefited people. At other times, it pushed aside other modalities of healing and living that could bring extreme benefits to everyone. Now, because India is a very ancient civilization, India had for thousands of years before the modern time, the modern era that we're living in, India was a very sophisticated culture, and it had books on surgery, which eventually led to Western medicine having surgical texts. It had books on medicine with a profound understanding of herbs and the various substances of nature, both mineral, by the way, and vegetable. They used mercury, they had processes for purifying it. So there was very advanced chemistry, technology, and the development of healing substances. But what was unique about that system, which is not present in our modern day system, is they also had a science that understood the nature of each particular physical body. And that body type, as it's called, was something that every doctor had to know. In other words, they had to know both who they were treating and what they were treating and what substances were necessary or processes, like surgery, for that treatment. What happened accidentally, on purpose, a little of both, in Western civilization is about 100 years ago, as fossil fuel was growing and dominating our life. It also created chemical companies which created weapons. For example, Monsanto came from its role making poison gases for warfare into agriculture. That's a good example of a company being repurposed, but not losing the taint of its original use. We've been suffering from this in our medical field because monopolistic corporations, dangerous chemicals, and methodologies have been studied in Western civilization and practiced and enabled as sources of profit, while the rest of the technologies for healing from India, from China, from various civilizations have been completely ignored, or they've been taken without credit. As a good example, smallpox vaccination did not originate in Western civilization. It originated in India, and cowpox, those milking cows, would catch cowpox. And they then noticed that the girls, it was mostly ladies who milked the cows, that once they'd had cowpox, which did not harm you, you could not get smallpox, which would harm you very much. So they learned of immunity, and they developed immunity and making vaccines. But all of this ancient knowledge from all of the indigenous cultures was displaced by the colonization that erased the friendly connections between those civilizations and our Western civilizational culture. There were several results, but the worst is that medicine was no longer personalized and about diet and nutrients and food, and more particularly about the body type of the person, partly because there was a prejudice against reincarnation. And in India, reincarnation was clearly understood to mean each person gets a different vehicle each time they come back. That's the result of their previous actions. That vehicle has a different immune system, a different bodily constitution. So medicine in India, and eventually in China and other places, became lifestyle and particular to your own body. Whereas Western medicine and Western culture has come to dominate the world, in a sense, just by force and sheer numbers. So allopathic medicine is deficient. You might say it's nutrient deficient. There's a great story about how these interactions took place when Chairman Mao was conducting the revolution in China against 18 million landlords, and the civilization was choked with dominance by landowners. So there was some meaning to what he was doing. But they all got carried away, and it became too violent, and anything old was being destroyed. And one day, Chairman Mao got an eye infection, and allopathic medicine couldn't touch it. Penicillin couldn't cure it, nothing could cure it. So they brought in a Chinese doctor who cured it in 3 days with herbs and traditional Chinese methodologies. Now, if we'd only known in that moment what they then knew, Mao then said, wait, stop. He was destroying most of the old Chinese culture, thinking it was just bad habits, and that modernity was where they should be. But he looked over and he said, let's save Chinese medicine. At gunpoint, he forced all the Chinese doctors to come together and cooperate and pool their knowledge. Again, a bit of a rough way to do it. But as it turns out, China is one of the only places in the world where allopathic medicine and Chinese medicine are practiced simultaneously on all the patients, which means they're getting the best of both worlds. And the rest of Western civilization is definitely, there's an antagonism between allopathic medicine and herbal medicine, homeopathy, naturopathy, various other medical practices, and especially Ayurveda and Chinese medicine. This division has mostly been caused by corporate competition and by chemical and pharmaceutical companies not wanting competition. So, at a certain point, about 100 years ago, financial and other motivations took over and dominated medicine. And the result is what we now call allopathic medicine. And it's led to cancer medicines that are way too expensive, where profit is being made from the distress and illness of many people who are in terminal conditions. So that allopathic medicine has become known as emergency medicine. If you get in an automobile accident and your body's broken up, you want to go into surgery. But by the way, surgery was present in India 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. The first surgical text came from there, along with the first medical text, the Charaka Samhita and the Sushruta Samhita. But you see, along with colonizing the world, we lost the focus and the benefit of those civilizations to gain their herbal secrets, to gain the gifts that they had been carrying for thousands of years. So right now, allopathic medicine is obsolete, out of date. It's no longer fulfilling its agenda of Hippocratic Oath, which says to be healing to all and not be violent to them. And it's now accidentally, on purpose, violent by being a monopoly. And that monopoly medicine that we call allopathic medicine is a problem. In some cases, it's a cure, or in other cases, it's a surgery that saves a life. Do we want to get rid of it? Absolutely not. But if there's a single place where various of the colonized civilizations have something to offer that we need to wake up to right away, it's the realization that cultures like India and China have very effective and sophisticated lifestyle medical programs. With an understanding of herbs, an understanding of body types, an understanding of lifestyle, an understanding of the life force that is simply not present in allopathic medicine. So this turns out to be a place where three of the biggest co-contributors to modern well-being could be, if it was cultivated, China and India. But I'm certain if we went around and asked each indigenous culture about its favorite herbs, there would be some special medicine that we don't know about. Because the collateral damage of colonialism was ignoring the benefits, the truths, and especially with India, a brilliant, vibrant, and ancient culture which seemed to contradict the principles of colonization in the extreme. And so, to this day, we do not have lifestyle medicine. Those medical systems are still not paid for on people's medical insurance program. Only allopathic medicine. This monopoly medicine is the enemy of our well-being. During COVID, we've been finding out about this because many of the people who get sick have a terrible lifestyle. They don't eat right for their body type. They don't know about herbs and the benefits of them. They don't even know what food to eat at what time of day and in what season of the year to support their particular body type. In the absence of that, it makes it appear that only interventionist emergency medicine or vaccinations, an extreme that we've never seen before on the scale that we're seeing it, all of that could be aided by healing methodologies that appeal to the individuality of each person, that help them have a healthy lifestyle. Instead, we have huge industries making trillions a year selling junk food to children and people in poverty. We really haven't made wellness and well-being the basis of our civilization in the West and throughout the world, in the places that have been influenced by the modern era, who think allopathic medicine is the only medicine. Well, it's just not true. In fact, we're at a moment right now where this crisis over COVID is a crisis that can motivate us and is motivating many people to learn more about lifestyle, more about well-being, and more about the benefits of science, making new discoveries. But they should all be working together. Like the many peoples of the world, and like India, their brilliance and what they co-contributed to the modern world has been kept from reaching them. When the British were colonizing India, they made Ayurvedic medicine illegal, penalty by death. That made it retreat into families. That made it look like a caste system. Then they said, oh, they're just caste Brahmins and this doesn't work. But it was never really looked at. It was never really examined. But with the advent of allopathic medicine, even 100 years ago, the Vegetarian magazine, principles like this of looking into alternative ways of living have been reviving. We are now at a time when all of the indigenous cultures are reviving from colonization. That's part of what we're doing on Vedic Vidya. We're bringing back the true understanding of the immensely important gifts of the civilization of India. And each of those indigenous cultures that were overrun during the colonial era need to be revived, need to be brought back. And first and foremost, Ayurvedic medicine, because it heals by feeding, because the first line of defense is what you eat every day, in what season, according to your body type. It seems to me that the first step would be, since hospitals are not famous, are they, as a wonderful place to go out to dinner? When was the last time you said, I know, let's go to the hospital with a group of people going out to dinner? I don't think so. So that tells you it's an Achilles heel. So let's not try to displace allopathic medicine. Let's try to add things that fulfill needs that are not being fulfilled. Let's look to lifestyle medicine. Let's start with Ayurvedic dietary wisdom and implement it at hospitals and have cooks that are Ayurvedic doctors as well, who cooperate with allopathic doctors. Let's have a world of cooperation between ancient wisdom and modern science. That would be the best thing we could do to optimize a difficult time, difficult transition. It's very sad that ancient civilizations were treated so badly, but it's in the past now. But that we lose their wisdom would be truly terrible. We should apologize, we should remedy the imbalances, and then we'll be able to remedy the imbalances in our own lives and lifestyles and medical system. So we need to add Ayurvedic, Chinese medicine, many forms of herbal medicine. A friend of mine is a naturopathic doctor. His name is Peter Glidden. There's a wonderful book. It's called The MD Emperor Wears No Clothes. Everyone is sick and I know why. This is because naturopathic medicine is based upon monitoring the substances that we put into our body according to the existing constitution of our body. Very much like Ayurveda. We need these alternatives to become legitimate. Because right now, most people's health program only pays for allopathic medicine with all of its limitations and accidental violences that it's creating. The next step that we should take, and we learn from COVID, is that lifestyle is the basis of health and well-being. And then, in an emergency, we use emergency medicines. This is the great secret that India has held for thousands of years and passed forward and is still teaching the world. There are new Ayurvedic medical schools in America. There's one in New Mexico. These are springing up all over the world. And the yoga movement is allied with the lifestyle movement of Ayurvedic medicine, Vedic astrology, and all of these lifestyle practices. Vedic Vidya means shining the light of truth. Tune into Vedic Vidya on the Citti Media English channel Sunday nights at 7 p.m. IST. My name is Kavindra Rishi, Jeffrey Armstrong. See you next time. And have a Namaste.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. धन्यवाद. धन्यवाद. Namaskar.